Hi folks, Shane here with Shane's Premier League review show for match weeks 28 and 29. Let's crack on with the show as there's plenty to get through from the last two game weeks. So, first up on match week 28 was a game between Leicester City and Stoke City. The game ended 1-1, but it was pretty eventful. Johan Shaqiri gave Stoke the lead with about 5 minutes to go to the break at the King Power Stadium with a wonderful solo goal as the Leicester defence failed to close them down. However, Leicester dragged themselves back into the game with about 20 minutes to go in the match as a good ball into the box was unfortunately diverted into his own net by Jack Butland. Riyad Mahrez had a chance to win the game for Leicester City, but he tried to chip Butland, and it wasn't to be, as Jack Butland was really alive to the situation at hand at the time. And the game ended up 1-1, as I said, and it was a fair result. Later on that day then, Bournemouth drew 2-2 with Newcastle. Dwight Gale gave the Magpies a 2-goal lead on the South Coast, and they managed to hold that until about 10 minutes to go when Bournemouth rallied. They put plenty of pressure on the Newcastle goal, and it paid off. And Dan Gosling scored for Bournemouth, and Smith also chipped in within the last 10 minutes of the game to give the Cherries a really unlikely point. It was a really entertaining match, and if you haven't seen the highlights already, it's well worth a watch. On to Brighton and Swansea. This was a really convincing victory for Brighton. Glenn Murray scored a couple of goals, including one from the spot, as well as Van La Parra. And I think Anthony Knockaert was in with a goal as well in the game. And also, Lewis Dunk managed to put the ball into his own net for Swansea. So in truth, Brighton got all 5 goals on the day. The final score was 4-1 in a really, really convincing Brighton victory and deserving winners on the day. Fair play to them. We'll move on now to Watford and Everton. This was a really, really drab game with very few chances, but the game was lit up with a brilliant goal from Troy Deeney, a shot which ended up in the roof of the Everton net, with just a few minutes remaining. Everton had the 1 or 2 half chances as well, and there was also a bit of a scramble in the box coming towards the end of the game. But in truth, Everton really didn't deserve anything, but they didn't really threaten the Watford going throughout the match. 1-0 to Watford, and a big 3 points for them there. We'll move on to West Brom and Huddersfield. West Brom are basically doomed, folks. They cannot win a game for their lives. They don't seem to have a plan. It's pretty shocking, and Pardew hasn't had the desired effect at all with the change of manager a couple of months ago. There's been dressing room bust-ups and people breaking rules and all the rest of it, and they're doomed at the bottom of the table. They're basically cut adrift now, and they'll be relegated in the next 3 to 4 game weeks, in my view, because other teams are beginning to pull away now and create a bit of a gap, and rightly so, as West Brom really deserve to go down, as they haven't really got going all season, and it's only one place they should be going in, and that's down to the Championship. As for the game itself, Huddersfield really played brilliantly well. They managed to get the 2-1 victory. They took a 2-goal lead. I think Van La Parra and Steve Mooney came up with the goals here, and for West Brom, then Craig Dawson chipped in with the consolation. Fair play to Huddersfield there, and they have a great chance of staying up. On to Liverpool and West Ham United. This was a really convincing win for the Reds. Emre Can, Sadio Mane, and Mohamed Salah were in amongst the goal scorers here. And Roberto Firmino as well, also. And when Jurgen Klopp said it was some of the best football his team ever played, so he described it, I think, as wow football, if I remember rightly. So it was a really good performance, and Liverpool got everything right on the day. But West Ham never stopped trying. They created several chances throughout the game, and they got a goal from Mikel Antonio. And a 4-1 defeat. Arnautovic also had a chance during the game, when it was 0-0, I think, in fact. So West Ham gave as good as they got for long periods of the match through, but a convincing win for the Reds. Burnley and Southampton. This game hadn't really much to it. Ashley Barnes gave Burnley the lead with about 20 minutes to go, and a bit of controversy at the end. I think I mentioned it in my prediction show the other day. The referee got in the way of one of the Burnley midfielders, and as they attempted to get to the ball, the referee managed to block the midfielder off, and Southampton went down the other end, and Manuel Gabbiadini put the ball into the net for a crucial point for the Saints in the battle for survival. And then Sunday, seeing the games between Manchester United and Chelsea, and Crystal Palace and Tottenham take place. In the Manchester United match, Romelu Lukaku and Jesse Lingard scored for the Red Devils, and that was in between Willian giving Chelsea the lead. So it was a fantastic comeback victory for Manchester United. And it wasn't their first one of the week, as I'll touch on a bit later on in the show. So fair play to them. They are a wonderful victory. Jesse Lingard also came off the bench to score the winner. So it was a good game. Chelsea played well. I was actually surprised they were beaten. I think they might have had a perfectly good goal ruled offside as well, if memory serves me correctly. They were a bit unlucky, but United came out on top. And then Spurs managed to beat Crystal Palace 1-0 with a goal from Harry Kane with 2 minutes remaining at Selhurst Park. It was a good header to give one of the top teams in London, should we say. The victory as they're in the scrap for the top four, same as 4 or 5 other teams at the moment. A 1-0 crucial victory for them, thanks to Harry Kane. And then it was on to last Thursday, when Arsenal took on Manchester City once again. After Manchester City's 3-0 victory in the League Cup final, they went and did the same trick once again, with another 3-0 victory, this time at the Emirates, with wonderful goals from Bernardo Silva, David Silva and Leroy Sané to leave the Gunners feeling blue. They also Arsenal also missed a penalty at the start of the second half, which would have given them some foothold in the match, or so-called foothold, should we say. I'd say Manchester City had a few other gears to go to if they needed to, but it was really, really comfortable for them from start to finish, and they played the first half out of this world. You should watch it. If you want to see pure soccer being played, or football, then it's important you give that first half a watch, because it was a total and utter masterclass from the Sky Blues. By the way, Aubameyang was the person to miss the penalty for Arsenal. Yeah, so there we go. It's been a bad week for Arsenal, as I will continue to allude to later on in my video. So that's the end of game week 28. Now on to game week 29. Burnley took on Everton in the early kick-off at Turf Moor. Everton managed to go in front with a well-worked goal finished off by Toussaint for his first goal for his new side. However, Burnley played very well all game, and Everton ran out of ideas. Burnley had chance after chance, especially Ashley Barnes managed to have a few of them, and he also managed to score a good goal as he got in behind the Everton defence early on at the start of the second half, and he smashed the ball past Jordan Pickford to level the game up. There was also a sub made at half time by Burnley, and that was in the shape of Chris Wood. It was a tactical masterclass from Sean Dyche as he exposed all of Everton's weaknesses throughout the match, and it really paid off when Chris Wood managed to box all the Everton defenders in and get a free header from a corner late on in the game. I think it was with about 15 minutes to go. And that wasn't all from this game, folks. Everton had a free kick in at a time. Ashley Williams completely lost the head, and he swiped one of the Burnley players with his arm quite deliberately. He was like a fella that didn't want to be on the field. It was a horrible swipe now, and well done to the referee, Patrick Kavanagh, for spotting that. The bad swipe, and hence he was given a straight red card, and that just compounded Everton's misery, and it was yet another away day blue for them. So yeah, they've one of the worst away records in the Premier League, by the way. They might have only won maybe one game all season, if memory serves me correctly. Don't be afraid to pull me up on that. And maybe just 2 or 3 games in the last couple of years away from home in the league. I think I'm definitely right there. It's been desperate from Everton's point of view. They should be doing better for the size of their club because they have an excellent fan base and it's well ran, but they just can't pick up the results away from home, which is hard for Evertonians to take, I know, but there you go. And as for Burnley, it was their first win in a long time as well. So fair play to them there. Now, we'll move on. And what an epic win for Swansea against West Ham United after their collapse from the previous week. Goals coming here in a dominant performance from Ki Sung-young, Van der Horn, King, Andy King that is, and I think it was Jordan Ayew who popped up with the fourth goal from the penalty spot, and Mikel Antonio grabbed one back for the Irons on another bad day for them. But as for Swansea, wow, some of the football they played was absolutely brilliant, and they swept West Ham aside. It was wonderful, really, to be honest. Great football. The highlights are well worth a watch if you want to see them, folks. So we'll move on now. The next game, Southampton and Stoke, there was nothing going on here whatsoever. You wouldn't want to watch this game in too much of a hurry. It ended up 0-0. The game had about 2 chances. It was a non-event, really. Albeit our good friend Sofiane Boufal had a good chance with a header to win it for Southampton. And likewise, Cheaper Moting was clean through on goal for Stoke City, and he blazed the chance Stoke City had high and wide, and that was about it. The least said about that game, the better it was. It was flipping desperate. Don't watch it, okay? Don't watch the highlights. They put unless you you want to be put to sleep by some of the bad football being played in this game. Both teams are under threat of going down, as are basically 10 of the top 20 teams, really, believe it or not, at the moment. It's so tight down there, but it wouldn't surprise me if these two joined West Brom in the Championship next season, and that's Southampton and Stoke, by the way. Right, we'll move on to Liverpool and Newcastle United. This was a really, really good victory for Liverpool, as they needed to work hard to break Newcastle United down at Anfield. They did eventually, with 5 minutes to go in the first half, with the good ball from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain to Mohamed Salah. The ball was buried in the net, and straight at the start of the second half, Sadio Mane whacked a shot into the top corner to give the Reds a comfortable win. It could have been more, as Salah was fouled towards the end, but the referee or his assistant didn't give a free kick for a clear goal scoring opportunity, which was strange. But nevertheless, despite a good Newcastle defensive performance, the Reds prevailed, 2-0 winners. Leicester City and Bournemouth. This game was pretty even throughout. Bournemouth and Leicester both had their chances. Bournemouth took the lead with the penalty from Josh King, and then basically with the last kick of the game, a free kick from Riyad Mahrez, rescued a point for the Foxes in a 1-1 draw. Now we'll move on to Spurs and Huddersfield. Huddersfield gave Spurs a good game at times. Here they had a few chances and were unlucky not to score, if memory serves me right. But however, Sung-young Min scores 2 wonderful goals for Spurs. They were well taken, and they managed to come out on top by 2-0 in a good victory ahead of their Champions League match on Wednesday against Juventus. It'll be a good boost for them there. So on to where are we now? Oh yes, Watford and West Brom. As I was saying earlier, West Brom are doomed at this stage. I think can't see them getting out of the relegation zone anyway at all. Really, they're marooned at the bottom of the table, and that was compounded by a 1-0 defeat at Vicarage Road on Saturday afternoon, with yet again another goal from Troy Deeney to give the Hornets a good 6 points over the last week, shall we say. Fair play to them there. We'll move on. Brighton and Arsenal. Arsenal are going through a shocking run lately. They've had 4 defeats recently in all competitions. It's been brutal. And I think Arsene Wenger's time is coming to an end at the club. They lost the League Cup final, they lost Manchester City as well in the league, as I alluded to earlier, and now they've lost to Brighton. Yes, Brighton went into the game 4 points off the relegation zone, but could Arsenal handle them? No, especially for the first 40 minutes of the game. Brighton were made look like Barcelona, thanks to some shambolic Arsenal defending. It was desperate. You wouldn't see it from an under-7 side, the bad defending that went on in the game. Arsenal were so rattled. It was hard to understand, really. They're not the Arsenal of old, and they've only 45 points on season. I just don't understand it, folks, and I'm sure all Arsenal fans are pretty baffled also. Hopefully they might win the Europa League to salvage their season, but it's highly unlikely. As for Brighton, fair play to them. Glenn Murray and Dunk managed to make up for his own goal last week with a good header. Brighton wanted this game more, and they got their just rewards. However, Aubameyang came up with a consolation for Arsenal, and they improved in the second half, but they really didn't deserve anything out of the game, as I said. Fair play to Brighton. And it was a good game, so it's well worth a watch. As for the next one that took place on Sunday, Chelsea and Manchester City, you would suspect that this one would be worth a watch, but gee, trust me, it wasn't. It was brutal from start to finish. City dominated the ball. Chelsea never came out of their defensive shell. Each time they got the ball back in their defence, they either played the ball backways to their keeper, Quotro, or they booted a long bullet of a ball up as far as Eden Hazard, which he had no chance of controlling. I would say, even if they put Morata on top of Hazard, they still wouldn't have caught the ball, or any other Chelsea player for that matter. The balls were that high and that long. They just really had no intent in the game whatsoever of coming out and playing. It was amazing for a so-called top 4 clash. And Chelsea are also in big trouble for the Champions League. I think they could be 5 points off the top 4 now, so they could well pay for not coming out and playing yesterday. It was amazing. I never seen the likes of it before. Strange game. City dominated from start to finish, and their dominance paid 34 seconds, I think it was, or 36 seconds into the second half, when Bernardo Silva tapped home from a good cross into the box. And amazingly, Chelsea never had a shot on target throughout the whole match. However, they could have nicked a point, and a well-undeserved point, with basically the last kick of the game, with the well-struck volley from Marcos Alonso, which flew past the post. But a well-deserved win from Manchester City's point of view, and they're 4 wins away from the league title now. And as for Chelsea, I just haven't seen the likes of it before, haven't come across the likes of such a performance before, just don't get it. It was amazing. They've their work cut out now to get into the Champions League. Trust me, they may not get there at this stage, and Conte looks a broken man. He won't be in it at the end of the season in the Chelsea job, I reckon. So, trust me on that as well, I reckon. And then the final game took place earlier on tonight between Crystal Palace and Manchester United. It was a real cracker of a match. Crystal Palace had a 2-goal lead in the game. Andres Townsend and Patrick Van Aanholt gave the Eagles a wonderful start to the game early on in the second half. The first goal came early on in the first half, but with about 55 minutes gone in the match, Crystal Palace were 2 goals up and in dreamland. However, United rallied, and they rallied big time, with a goal from Chris Smalling to get the ball rolling with a good header. And then Romelu Lukaku placed a wonderful shot into the bottom corner of Hennessy's net to level it up. And then in added time, at the end of the match, the comeback was complete and the full match was turned on its head in an incredible match from the Premier League. It never fails to amaze, as I might have said many times before in my videos. And this game was proof. Pogba had a shot blocked in the box, and the ball fell to Nemanja Matic, which he volleyed right in to the bottom corner of Hennessy's net once again. It was an incredible goal, a wonderful strike, and a really crucial 3 points for Manchester United to send them back up to second ahead of Saturday's Titanic clash with Liverpool at Old Trafford. It'll be second against third in the Premier League. Manchester United and Liverpool. I'll be previewing that in my prediction show either on Thursday or Friday, so look out for that. That's the review show for this week, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've liked it, subscribe, and don't be afraid to leave a comment below. Talk to you soon. All the best from Shane.